Welcome to a brand new video. In this one, we are back downtown Toronto doing some POV style street photography. It's been a while since we've made one of these and I want to get back into it for the casual vlog, just getting creative and showing you my process for how I get my photos. And already as we're walking, I'm seeing a bunch of opportunities that I'm kind of a little bummed I'm missing out on, but we got to film this intro. So the plan for today is start at the Gooderham building, which is right here, and we're gonna walk all the way down to Harborfront, all the way maybe to the end of the Harborfront trail, and then from there we're gonna walk all the way back. We got the 24-70 on the A7iv, perfect for when that light gets nice and low, and when the sun goes down, Toronto looks probably the best. That last hour before sunset is my absolute favorite for street photography, and that's why we always come out at this time. So for today, we got the GoPro on the chest to document all of it. You're gonna see me cross a lot of roads, by the way, in today's video. Just always be careful, don't vlog and walk. I'm gonna voice over to take you along with me. We're gonna cut in and out maybe a few times on the Osmo Pocket I got right here, and start things off as I always do, which is right at the dog fountain. And if you've been following me for a while, I still haven't found an answer to why there's a dog fountain in Toronto. Literally the most random thing. So yeah, let's hop on into today's video and see what we can get. Okay, we are hopping back into this one. I am crazy excited for today's video because it's been a long time coming that I wanted to do a street photography video, and I've just been debating about how to do them differently. So this is the first attempt at that, and all I'm gonna start doing is like moderately, you know, vlog style video, and then hop into POV, and then kind of switching between the two. I have a very interesting way I want to level these up though. But first shot there with the G-Wagon, obviously just warming up, trying to get some car photography. And then this shot here, I just want to talk about quickly because it's probably one of my favorites from the night, which is just these two women walking towards the CN Tower. I just love that composition with the leading lines of the sidewalk pointing there, and then just kind of snapping some other warm-up ones along the way before we get to Harborfront. So just kind of jumping back in then to what I was saying is like this way of these POV street photography videos, I think they're fine, but I really want to take you guys, the viewers, along with me as I'm making them. So I have like, yeah, I have a very interesting way that I want to get after that. So think of this one as a test. Let me know in the comments below if you like me hopping in and out with the Osmo Pocket 3, kind of just giving a little bit more live updates as we go. And hopefully you like this one. So yeah, and then obviously on this shot I missed the focus, but I wanted to show it anyway. All right, so that was the first part of today's video. Getting from the Gooderham building down to Harborfront, you have to go through the financial district, and I've already done that thousands of times over. I've literally walked the financial district for photos more times than I actually want to admit. And it's part of the reason why I haven't really done this in a while, is because during, you know, 2020 to 2022, when there weren't a lot of people downtown, financial district was the only place you could actually find people. So that's why I was there so much. But now I'm trying to venture out into more areas of the city and see district by district. I kind of have this goal to hit every district of Toronto for photography, documented POV style like this. And then eventually I want to make a photo book. I've always wanted to make a photo book of the city. But yeah, so we're just about to get to Harborfront. I wanted to update you there on where we're at in case you're maybe watching these videos and you're not from Toronto, you want to know where we are in the city, you're just kind of looking at it. So let's go back POV style. So yeah, the biggest goal with these videos is really, I have this big goal. And the big goal is I want to document Canada, starting with Toronto, because I'm obviously from here and I photographed it so many times at this point. But the goal is to make a photo book of really special cities to me. We'll see if I get there with the level of photos that I'm after, just because Toronto's in an interesting place right now. And I think to get the amount of photography I need to like shoot street like 3 times a week, if I'm being honest. And right now I'm at around 1. But you know, we're gonna get there. Starting with shots like these, I think are really special, these landmark shots. I really love this composition on Harborfront because you have the CN Tower sub-framed up between these two buildings.
always leads for really interesting photos. I've shot this building at night. I've shot it during the day. At sunset, it's even better. Obviously, people walking in frame there. And all I was trying to do in this shot was grab the couple, as you can see, waiting at the lights there in the composition. So I'll put that one up on the screen for you. And Harborfront really leads to a lot of interesting photos like this. It's just like the perfect spot for those candid moments. I've come here now like 3 or 4 times in the last month for street photography, just because I find it to be one of the more reliable locations for people to actually be, that are doing things that are more cultured rather than just like coming home and or going to work, like I'm going to find in the financial district. So there's a lot of couples watching the sunset, or people going out to dinner, or just, you know, people like just doing things on a weeknight, because that's when I tend to shoot. On the weekends, I haven't really had the opportunity yet to go out sunset or sunrise, mostly because on the weekends, that's mostly the only personal time I get these days. I'm working a lot, especially to put out these videos, so it's tough to go out on a Saturday afternoon and shoot some street photography like I used to. But getting cool shots there. I obviously shot that one of the guy on the bench. That was a really interesting one because you can use the bench as a leading line. And then right here, the camera's not in frame because I actually have it backwards on my hip to get this shot. I figured out how to walk with the camera at a super high shutter and just have it behind me. And the A7S4 or the A7 IV seems to do a really good job of finding eyes to focus on when I'm in that mode, hilariously. So I'm able to get a lot of shots that literally have never been possible. Then this shot here coming up, I managed to grab a really cool piece of light coming through the stadium where a lot of, you know, kind of like more like smaller bands will play in the summer. Just a cool shot, mostly because I like photographing light at times. Then here with this ice cream stand, I've come here to photograph it so many times because I love the neon signs around it, but I've not really found a composition that's worked for me yet. Still waiting for, you know, the right person to come into frame or stand in a certain way to make that a more interesting photo, but it is what it is. That's kind of the fun of this, is just continually trying. This whole area has a lot of like food trucks and different things that I'm just always walking by, like waiting for the moment that I'm actually going to be able to get the photo that I wanted. And then as you can see, this food truck up on the left here, there was actually a couple buying some food, and I didn't want to stop and stand because that's a dead giveaway. A lot of the times, for a lot of people, you kind of want to be a little bit nonchalant with some of your photography, obviously being respectful as you can. So I've just cranked the shutter to make sure that I don't have the bounce, and then just grabbing a few photos here to manage the shot. The horizon line on the original was ridiculously crooked, so just needed a little bit of correcting there, and I managed to get that in frame. Then once you get over to this second part of Harborfront, this is where a lot more of the interesting photos actually are. And the light here was actually really nice because it's poking out from the buildings there on the top right. So there's this girl just on her bike having an ice cream cone from my Hollow Crunch, which hilariously I still have to try. These were the black ice cream cones that came out a few years ago with the charcoal infused into them. I seriously regret not getting one. I should just honestly do it because I still don't know what they taste like. Shot there wasn't really anything too crazy. And then up here on this bridge, just mostly trying to get a lot of these candid shots. So I had the couple there that I managed to get a sort of portrait of, and then there's another group coming up that I'm just trying to get as many shots as I can. And I don't know if you're familiar, but there was a photographer called Moneris on Instagram at one point. She's still around, but not doing as much as she used to. I think she became a full-time colorist. But I remember watching somebody filmed her while she was doing street photography just to show her workflow, and the speed at which she puts the camera up to her eye to grab a shot as she's walking past people is ridiculous. And I always think about that in moments like that. And then grabbing candid shots here just of this couple, and then the boat in the water with the light hitting it looked pretty cool. It was a little bit too reflective though, so some of the harsher light than I probably would have wanted. And then with the sailboat here, this I think it's the Empire Sandy, this sailboat, I always walk by, photograph it. It's just like a cool Toronto composition, I'm going to call it, especially when the light falls on it. It looks really, really, really nice in the summertime, and you just can't go wrong. So I just kind of grab shots of things that maybe I've photographed before, but just haven't really photographed in a particular way. I've learned my lesson with Toronto. There's so much construction going on that I've just come to learn to take photos of stuff because it might be gone one day. The best example of that is TD Towers. We had the CN Tower perfectly framed up between two of the most iconic bank buildings in the city, only for a third bank building to be built right in the middle of it. Here, by the way, sorry, interrupting the tangent. This is another walk-by shot there of the couple. And then obviously you see I just kind of keep moving. Something I've learned to do, it takes a lot of practice to get right. And you kind of have to hold your breath as you do it because you tend to bounce the camera more otherwise. And then the goal was to obviously walk all the way down the strip here. So yeah, just the moral of the story is on the previous thought, photograph what you can, document what you can, because one day it might be gone. And that's why we do this.
We got all the way down to the edge of Harborfront. And at this location, we have a nice lookout of the city. And I always come here in the morning. It's a really, really nice sunrise photo spot. But it also looks really good at sunset, if you ask me. Very underrated location. I know at sunset, the sun's not behind it, so this location faces east, but there's just something about the way that the light hits the city directly at sunset that literally looks incredible. So I'm gonna grab that shot and then keep walking. So the long part about this walk, and whenever I do it, I always regret it in the moment. And then once I get back, then I'm happy with it because the photos look good, is walking back to the Guterheim building. It is far. I have my tracker app on and it's about, I'm gonna say, it's probably about 5 kilometer walk. So, I mean, it's a 30-minute walk if you're not taking photos, an hour if you are. So we're probably gonna go 15 minutes with photos, 15 minutes without photos to get back to the car on time. And then that'll be the end of today's video.
So hopping back in for these last ones, this is one of my favorite locations, like I was mentioning, at sunset. Super underrated because the sun is actually in front of the city, not behind it. So the reflection here though is always incredible. Obviously at sunrise, this composition looks even better, especially if you have a 16-35 on. So I always come here to grab shots. I have one photo in particular that I captured here at sunset in 2021, and I've always wanted to make it a print because at blue hour, you get the city with all its lights on, the sun hitting the buildings in a particular way. I think maybe that's what makes it so interesting, is as you can see, the way the light falls onto the skyscrapers, just this contrast of light to dark is really, really, really unique. And then obviously the CN Tower reflecting on the water as it does is pretty special. And I think overall Harborfront is somewhere special. So if you're debating coming to Toronto or you haven't ventured out to Harborfront for some photos, I highly recommend it. As a kid, I always used to walk here with my parents, so it probably also has like some weird subconscious memory in my mind when I'm coming here taking photos. It's just so nostalgic for me. I absolutely love it. So honestly, as a first foray back, oh, and here's a beaver. There was randomly a beaver here. I'm gonna put up a phone video I took just because it's just so funny. But yeah, as a first foray back into street photography, I hope you enjoyed this one. We're gonna have a little talking head segment at the end. Lots more to come, lots more, I'm gonna say, innovative ways to shoot these videos on the way. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the photos.
Okay, that's gonna bring us to the end of today's video. We're done Harborfront. We're just heading back now. Probably got about 15 minutes left on the walk. There honestly wasn't that much after I left the cityscape spot. So the walk back is pretty bleak usually, mostly because I'm tired, because I don't really take a break for that hour and a half that we're out shooting. So it tends to be the case that when I'm tired, I don't actually see photos as often as I would otherwise. So I usually turn the GoPro off, go for a walk, and see what I can get. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it's a little different than normal, but trying to figure out new and exciting ways to do these POV videos. I have a whole bunch of ideas to make these a lot more exciting, to do them differently going forward, and most importantly, to actually document Toronto and have more meaning behind my photography. I think something I struggled with coming up, sorry, we're gonna go on a tangent. I think something I struggled with coming up as a photographer was really just finding a purpose for my photos. Yes, a lot of my photos maybe looked good, but there wasn't like a bigger reason behind them. And I think if, as an artist or a photographer, you're able to really find what that reason can be, then your work is gonna be that much better. And for me this summer, one sort of focus that I wanna have is kind of closing a chapter on Toronto, if that makes sense. I've photographed it now for 4 years, 3.5, and I think for me, it's just like a personal accomplishment, a personal sort of like acknowledgement, I should say, that I'm allowed to move on to more complex work, seek out more complex work, look for that sort of next phase of what my photography is once I sort of can say I'm done the city. So that's my goal, and I want to document the city in its current state. So that's what these POV videos are going to be, a different location every time, I hope, depending on traffic. Obviously, sometimes it's annoying to get to different places, and then taking the best out of it at the end of the year. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more POV style videos, comment down below. Let me know what it is that you're taking photos of lately as well. I'm really curious. Photography's changed a lot since the early days of Instagram. So I always want to know what you're up to. So yeah, with that, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.